Now, if you've never done any work on a computer, like I have, one of my greatest fears is overwriting something important in the memory and never getting it back. Same thing happens to the interviewers. So, welcome to episode 47, Assault on Memory. Now, a lot of the patterns and techniques that we use as interviewers that's being taught is literally causing or creating an assault on memory. Now, we see this a lot, particularly in false confession cases. So, there's some warnings and things that I want to tell you, first of all. I've heard again from another student that they were told in a class on interview and interrogation that there is no such thing as a false confession, that they don't exist, that innocent people never confess the crimes they don't commit. Well, scientific data shows that's absolutely incorrect. Matter of fact, there was a study that found 25 using DNA where people were cleared who made a confession. 25% of those wrongful convictions was a person who made a false confession. And so this instructor or this people are telling you that there is no such thing. I think I'd be hiring somebody else to do your training, because what also is happening is an assault on memory. Now, first of all, memory is not lock solid in a vault like a permanent recording, pretty much like what's on your laptop or your PC. It can be overwritten, and there are techniques in interviewing that are taught that will overwrite, and just like the computer is lost forever, you'll never be able to recover it in whole. Now, several factors, things. First of all, you got to think about the subject. Age has a lot to do with it. Now, this could be very young, teens, and it could be very old. Okay. There can also be mental and emotional conditions, traumatic brain injury, Alzheimer's, dementia, glue sniffing, paint sniffing, deprivation of oxygen, that type of thing, where there's a medical issue. There are some medications that do that. For example, Versed will do that. For those of you who've ever had to take Versed, it's really nice. You remember what happened when they worked on you, right? So there's that pattern falls into, and mentally ill are also very vulnerable into this. Particularly, we find that our children are vulnerable. And again, it's easily overwritten. And there's other factors involving the child wanting to please, wanting to be cooperative. Now, one of the particularly assault methodologies is where the interviewer, first of all, starts fact feeding or giving the subject information and tells them what had happened. Now, one of the things that we do know, and there's a lot of researchers that have done this, one of the most notable is Elizabeth Loftus, Loftus. I've mentioned her before, about 30 years of research about witnesses, eyewitness memory, and how fragile memory can be under certain conditions. And it is easy to alter that or overwrite that, and the person will come to believe what they heard last is what they saw and not in actuality. So, what I'm sharing you with you is obviously for suspects, but is also extremely important with victims and witnesses that we can assault their memories. So this suggesting that he had on the black Scully, didn't he? That is going to overwrite memory. Did you see the broken taillight on the red car? That will overwrite memory. No, it was a purse. You're right. It wasn't a brown purse, but it was a black purse. You have just overwritten the memory, and that person, you could show them video, and they would still believe that they were right. There was something wrong. And this is in our techniques that are taught. Now, the one that is the worst, again, is the fact feeding. We know you did this. Interviewers like to come in and have a lot of leverage. And I have this and I have this, whether it's right or wrong. And you have some overwriting going on. But one of the most notorious is minimizing triples the risk of a contaminated statement. Or let me tell you a little story. This is what you could have probably done. You came in, you did this, you were upset, you normally wouldn't do this, and you grabbed her and you did that, and then you did this with the body, didn't you? And we make up these little vignettes of what could have happened. As soon as you start doing that, you are overwriting memory. Again, the science is overwhelming on this problem. So if you've got instructors or somebody coming in and tell you to do those little things, make the little scenarios, tell the little stories. Here's what we have on you, and we're going to leverage you, or we're using a lot of leading questions. You have assaulted the memory of your subject. And those assaulted memories, remember, the choices you make in the interview room eventually will turn up in a courtroom. And they're already lost, and you've already assaulted the case. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Look forward to seeing you next week, episode number 48, getting up to almost a year worth of episodes here. Be sure to go back and look at some of the others and see how they all interact and play with each other. So in the meantime, until next week, look out for each other. Be safe.